I always wanted a tank for my preferred car at home. And then Land Rover launches the Defender. Now we know all about Land Rover and of course the Range Rovers we've had on the show, all their off-roading capabilities and what amazing cars they make, well, for all your adventures. But this is an expensive beast and we'll give you the price at the end of this Tech Today special. But what's it like as a luxury SUV? Is it only for enthusiasts? And what's the real tech on display that makes everything click in this particular Defender? That's what we're going to find out on this episode of Tech Today. But before I tell you about all the tech in the car that makes the off-roading possible and makes this a very comfortable car, and of course, all the other things that are happening when it comes to ride quality, well, this is one of the most commanding cars on the road. Now, this is the 110. There's a much larger version, which is, of course, one more row of seats. You can see the design is absolutely mind-bogglingly good. Pangea green is the color. And, you know, the camera team was telling me earlier that it changes color when light really hits the surface. I think this really is an ode to the original Land Rover heritage. And I think a lot of DNA from the Discovery line as well. But you see the way the lights are laid out, the way the grille is, and these massive wheels. They seem a little bit oversized and you think, okay, maybe this might not be the best car to drive on Mumbai roads, but you'd be wrong. This is no longer a ladder on frame construction. This Defender is now a monocoque. That means that with this stiffer suspension, driving it in the city is actually a practical option. And I will take you out for a quick road test. But let's show you the back of the car as well. You see these nice little carve-outs over here. I'm going to call them something later on in the show, so you've got to stay tuned. But special windows if you want to go out on a safari maybe. And then if you come at the back, you see this entire design. It's a little boxy, but the fact that it now has so much more tech, like an air suspension, means that the minute you open this, you can literally fit a house in the back of the Defender, and that's without folding the seats over here. If you fold them all the way down, that's another story altogether. There's enough space over here. Now, just to show you how this air suspension tech can make your life so much easier, ingress, egress, getting in and out of the car, weight sensing, off-roading, it all changes. And even if you want to load the car, right now it's at its maximum height. So if you wanted to, well, check how high that is, it's somewhere over here. I press this button. It's going down, a real sense of power. And you can see right over here, that's maybe more than 3 inches. Honestly, that's a fair amount, nearly, well, enough for you to find it a lot more comfortable to get into the car and to get out of the car. I love the way, old school, you can open the boot and it gives you that nice, solid thud. Well, the good thing about this car is, and yes, it's some really tough doors. When you do sit in the car, you have these door handles to hold on to. And the cool part over here is these peek holes that you can actually check out the sights and sounds from. Some people who don't like all the light coming in might crib, but listen, not in an adventure off-roader, which is also capable of being a luxury SUV. When you compare it to the other Range Rovers, there's a lot more luxury and performance that is built into those cars. And a little less off-roading, but they're still off-road capable. But this car has that off-roading capability supercharged. And, well, luxury is still something that you can consider. It's not like you're sitting in a Thar or a Jeep Rubicon. It's very comfortable. In fact, while sitting in the back, and when we had the crew members sitting in the back as well, they found it incredibly comfortable because of that stiff suspension. And the fact that it's no longer a ladder on frame construction, I think that makes it very, very comfortable to sit out here. Also, you have not much of the transmission tunnel bump over here, but yes, you do have this air conditioning system and, of course, the center armrest right there. So these two seats are fine, but the real magic happens in the front of the car. Now, just in terms of the tech on display and what makes this car so easy to use and genuinely doesn't intimidate you about the size and you know, the entire scale of what you're driving. If you look at this particular infotainment system, looks tiny out here, but I think this is the perfect size. In terms of clarity, UI, it's amazing. Look, it's PV Pro. That's what all the JLR cars run on. And compared to what BMW is doing, Mercedes is doing, I genuinely think that this is the most refined infotainment UI, UX in any vehicle on planet Earth. I really think it gets the job done. It's consistent, it's slick, and you can do all sorts of things with this particular system. Now, if we look at some of the features which make you feel like you are sitting in a Range Rover perhaps, well, you have air quality right here. And like it shows you the pollution levels outside, it tells you when you purify it, the lovely animation comes into being, and then it starts purifying the cabin. That's not all. One thing I find very interesting is if you go for either of these rows, and there's a third row of course at the back, which is maybe for the kids, you have an auto airflow option. Now, what does an auto airflow option really do? Whenever you put automatic climate control, because it's really hot here in Mumbai and in Delhi, it's going to come like a blast, right? And what if you don't want that blast and you just want it to be, well, a very simple, sort of a soft and quiet approach? You can choose that. You can also choose balanced. You can choose powerful and fast. And I think this is, well, a very interesting use of technology right there. But it doesn't stop really there. You, of course, have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. That's, well, standard with a lot of these cars. But it's good to see because we saw in the Audi they didn't have a wireless, it was wired. I generally think it has to be wireless because of all the things you need to do with your phone. Now, on, well, a hot summer day like this, you can always cool things in this fridge and store, well, all your special packages there as well. Another feature that is unique to Range Rovers and Land Rover is wade sensing. This essentially is how your car would actually be driving through water on the road. Or if you're crossing maybe a stream which is not necessarily flowing very, very vigorously, well, the system of the car actually warns the driver that the maximum wading depth has been approached. So for instance, if I want to raise the car right now, I'm already feeling a little elevated. The car has gone up and we have reached maximum, well, height. This air suspension in the car makes all of this possible. I'm going to come back down to earth because it's always nice to come back down to earth. And if you come to this particular level, it also becomes easier with the air suspension to enter and exit the car. And I think that is some brilliant use of technology because this is a very high off-roader. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the cameras in the car when you're talking about technology. Yes, most cars come with parking cameras, 360 cameras, and they do a fairly decent job. But I showed you the Mercedes GLC a few weeks ago, and they are implementing a feature called transparent bonnet. I think that is perhaps a 7 on 10. If you want to really level up on that feature, then this particular car knows exactly what it is doing with their version of transparent bonnet. The minute you go on off-road and you click this particular button, it is mind-boggling. You put the car in drive and you drive a little bit ahead and you can see that it is already stitching together images of the road beneath us. So you can find out if there are any obstacles. Even when you're driving, you see this as a very, very useful feature, especially on Mumbai roads. Next level implementation of the view underneath your bonnet. I think they use a lot of technology, AI right over there, stitching together different images from different cameras at different angles and perspectives. Use a little bit of AI, toss that into the mix, and you get a nearly perfect implementation of transparent bonnet. Now, there's pros and cons about a car being this big, which is that if you want to take a U-turn in one single shot, then it's not that easy. For instance, if I want to take this U-turn, clearly it's not going to happen in one shot. It's going to take, well, a little bit of maneuvering. But the pro to that effect is that this is perhaps the most commanding vehicle on the road. I mean, just like, and it's strange to say that people notice the Thar and the Jeep Wrangler, this is in a league of its own. Yes, the camera does help to some extent when you want to turn like this. I'm going to turn it on to be entirely sure. If you see the camera with these adaptive guidelines, it helps a lot. But like you see, it takes a little bit of maneuvering. when you are taking U-turns in this particular vehicle. When you talk about ride quality, yes, this is a stiff suspension which works for luxury SUV city driving as well. But the main thing about this particular vehicle is that Land Rover is no longer operating on a ladder-on-frame construction. So what you get now with the Defender is a monocoque, and that changes the whole experience altogether. It's not as bumpy, and it's still capable of off-roading, of course, but it's also a little bit more practical when you're trying to show such a big beast off in the city. Well, so it's time for our verdict of the Land Rover Defender Beauty and Beast, because it has both those personalities, being an adventure off-roader when it has to be, and a very capable luxury SUV as well. Now, its biggest disadvantage here in India, let's get that out of the way, is its price. Nearly 1 to 2 crore rupees, depending on the variant that you buy. Well, that's where it gets tricky. It's a CBU, and coming here to India, it's up against maybe the BMW X7 or the Mercedes GLS, which are very practical, luxurious cars here in India. But this is not meant for that buyer. If you want to buy a Defender, you need to understand what it is capable of. And what I want to tell you is that something laudable about what they have done with this particular vehicle is the fact that, yes, it was known for what it could do in the rugged outdoors and as an adventure off-roader, but now the real differentiator is the tech, be it the TRS, what they've done with the suspension, that air suspension we showed you earlier, or even, well, the PIVI Pro and the kind of tech that works inside the car and outside. The purification is just endless in terms of making this car even better than its predecessor. And I think that is, well, something we're going to take away from our time with this particular vehicle. I'm a tech geek, Aayush, Ailawadi, your host on Tech Today, and all I can say is that yes, it's expensive, and most of us, including me, cannot afford this vehicle, but let a kid dream. And one day, we can hope that off-roaders, even made in India ones, will have these sort of capabilities. Until then, well, we'll wait and enjoy this particular review on Tech Today. Now, there's been a slew of announcements from Reliance and Jio. Now, you saw the Jio book, first day, first show here on Tech Today, but now there's so much more. Now, one thing that really caught our eye is the Jio AirFiber. What is this technology all about? Well, we've put together a special report, and then we're going to bring the experts in to tell you how this technology, if implemented successfully, could be a game changer.
Jio AirFiber uses our pan-India 5G network and advanced wireless technologies.
Reliance has announced new wireless internet services for homes and offices, calling it Jio AirFiber. At Reliance AGM 2023 recently, the company introduced a brand new product called AirFiber in India.
With Jio AirFiber, we can supercharge this expansion with up to 150,000 connections per day.
This is Jio's attempt to figure out last-mile connectivity for high-speed internet. The company has emphasized that with AirFiber, users will gain access to wireless internet at speeds comparable to fiber optics connections. This also means a goodbye to bundles of wires around the house in getting fast internet connection. Jio AirFiber will allow users to have access to a range of applications with low latency and high bandwidth like streaming video, gaming and video conferencing. The service will also include features like parental controls, support for Wi-Fi 6 and more. Are you confused between JioFiber and AirFiber? Let's break it down for you. JioFiber is based on fiber optic technology, where the user needs to get the fiber optic wires straight to their homes, where it is then either connected to a router or directly to the device that needs internet connection. JioFiber will offer more stable high speeds, but it requires more dense infrastructure to provide connectivity. The Jio AirFiber, on the other hand, is just a device that needs to be turned on. The user just needs to purchase and turn it on. It works a lot like a Wi-Fi hotspot, but with a much higher internet speed. The newly introduced Jio AirFiber will be launched in India on September 9th, 2023, a festive launch during Ganesh Chaturthi. Well, Jio has transformed internet connectivity across the country. It remains to be seen how AirFiber ups the game even more.
All right, the real focal point of the Reliance AGM was the Jio AirFiber announcement. Now, just to understand how this works and what this technology means for all of us here in India, I'm joined by a very special guest, Tarun Pathak of Counterpoint. Tarun, what a pleasure to have you with us on Tech Today.
Hello.
Tarun, let's break it down for the Tech Today community. Everyone watching and tuned in across our platforms, what is Jio AirFiber and how is it different from, say, a Wi-Fi hotspot?
Yeah, so if you look at largely the concept of AirFiber is delivering the same kind of speed what your traditional home internet fiber has been giving you, but over the air and without any wires. So there is no wires that are involved. Speed is almost very fast, almost like 5 times faster than your traditional routers. And the mechanism to basically operate is very simple. You just need to bring in the router, plug and play, turn it on, and that's it. That the earlier ways of like calling a particular employee from this some of your service providers, the mechanism of couple of days is just now gone. You just bring in a router, turn it on, and that's it all. So you are getting the same kind of speed, obviously in some cases much faster than your speeds what your fibers would have been delivering.
So in terms of that connectivity, how is this really a game changer? Now, would you classify this, if implemented successfully, as a true game changer, Tarun?
It is, because see, I think the biggest thing here is in terms of experience and reaching out to the user. So for example, how the entire mechanism works in FWA is you have a wireless transmitter or a receiver that is installed at your end, and that wireless transmitter is then connected to an antenna, right? And that communicates to a base station and everything. So the process is very simple in that sense. You are getting like gigabit speed over the air, and then obviously for consumers it's a win-win situation. The only thing that is pulling it down as of now is the cost of the setup, which is almost double in case of your traditional broadband setup, because the routers here are expensive as of now, and then you have plans which are a bit expensive as of now. But over a period of time, we believe that challenge is going to be taken care of. We have seen across the world the fixed wireless access routers, their prices have come down significantly, and going forward we think this is going to come down even. So a win-win for user.
Tarun, at Counterpoint, you guys track a lot of numbers and shipments and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to the Jio book, we reviewed it on Tech Today and we really listed out its pros and cons. Very interesting at that price point. But how do you view the Jio AirFiber announcement? Is this truly going to be a game changer? How do you think it's going to really transform the entire connectivity revolution here in India?
So we are quite hopeful on that, optimistic. I think we are also keeping FWA as the leading use case of the 5G. So if you look at right now, India's broadband penetration is lowest in the world. We are a nation that is consuming highest amount of data in the world, but our broadband penetration in India is very low. So for example, we have it's among the lowest in the world. We have only 1.69 people connected on the fixed broadband penetration for every 100 people. So and it is highly underpenetrated at 9.1% only. So what we believe that the entry of the Jio will make it more competitive. Obviously we have two solutions from Airtel and then we have Jio. 80% of the broadband in 2022 was based on fiber. Now we believe FWA will start changing things. We think by the year 2028, the cumulative shipments could hit around 50 million in the next 4-5 years.
Tarun, what a pleasure to have you with us on Tech Today. Thanks again, as always, for those valuable insights. Now, if you enjoyed that interview with Tarun Pathak and you want to understand more about what this particular technology or any of the other technologies we talk about, or even more about this particular vehicle, then you need to log on to the Tech Today website and tune in to all the content we're putting out across the Tech Today multiverse. Well, what are you going to do with all that high-speed internet? I'm guessing some of you are into gaming. Now, I love gaming on my console, but the team's Tech Today's resident gaming expert happens to be Pranav Dixit. So Pranav, over to you with this special gaming segment.
The world of gaming is seeing a very big boom in India right now. Now people are loving their games, and what do they like to play on? Today I'm diving into the streets of Delhi to see what they like to game on. Would it be a smartphone? Would it be a laptop? Or would it be a dedicated console like PlayStation 5? Now I personally love my PlayStation 5. Being Tech Today's resident gamer, I love to slay the monsters in God of War and see the world in Gran Turismo 7 while driving around like crazy. Let's see what the people of Delhi think about gaming. What do you like to play games on? Is it a smartphone, maybe a laptop, or a gaming console?
I prefer playing it on mobile phone.
Laptop.
Basically, I prefer mobile phone.
I prefer gaming on a PS consoles. Primarily desktop, at times mobile.
I mean, because I play with my gamer friends, so then I have to play on their systems.
I'm not that much into gaming, but I definitely prefer mobile phone over any other gadget.
Prefer mobile.
Mobile phones.
Definitely mobile. Mobile is the medium. Preferred playing it on my phone because after a point of time it makes me dizzy when I look at the computer. But I know the experience is way better in a computer.
Let's find more people to see what they think about gaming. So do you like gaming?
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
Right. Little bit. Okay, so what do you like gaming on? Maybe let's say a smartphone or a gaming laptop or a gaming console?
So I've seen, I love to game on my phone. And I've seen pretty much my husband and my brother playing on a PS as well. So I've tried my hands on PS as well. But phone is what I prefer.
I've been playing on a desktop for since 2015 actually. I feel like, if you want to be a gamer, you have to be professionally into it. If you're an e-sport gamer which is competitive, you probably need a more professional tools like customized controllers and all of that. At times mobile because it's a bit more accessible, but majorly it's on Steam, Epic Games, all that. Counter-Strike is the go-to.
Nowadays, it is very easy to buy a laptop with a high graphic card, and you are getting specific and exclusive gaming laptops. So it's very easy, and I always prefer Steam. So it is very helpful on laptop.
The portability that we get. So I think I can just turn on my phone and play games whenever I have to wait for any appointment or like I'm just resting at my home. So I find it convenient.
I prefer PC and mobile, but if you say go to, I'll go to a mobile because it's handy, it's low of cost. Everyone has access to mobile nowadays, and the platform that mobile provides now, just mobile gaming provides, it's huge. Why I don't prefer on mobile phones is because if you want to play some hardcore competitive shit, you all to be like weirdly holding the phones with 5-6 fingers and pressing all the buttons, but on a controller it's much easier. And there you go. Gaming is having a big moment in India. And today we found out what Delhiites love to game on. Whether it be smartphones, whether it be laptops or PlayStation 5 and Xboxes. Back to you, Aayush.
Well, that's about all the time we have on this show, but wait. There's a special one more thing moment. No, the Apple event is on September 12th. That's been announced, and we'll bring you more from that particular event as well. But we have, well, a very special announcement to share. At the recently concluded ENBA Awards, Tech Today won gold, not once, not twice, but 3 times, winning best coverage of technology, best coverage of gadgets, and of course, best coverage of auto as well. Because like I say, auto is now tech, and that is the future of automotive, be it EVs or even some of these cars which are using tech to really disrupt and innovate and recalibrate themselves as propositions which you would be interested in. But we won big at the ENBA Awards. The Tech Today team across the multiverse is overjoyed. We're elated, and we want to say thank you for all the love, encouragement and support you have shown us since the inception of your favorite technology platform. And whilst we leave you with those celebratory moments, I will go for a quick drive just to unwind. But yet again, thank you so much. And honestly, well, I hope you enjoyed this particular show. I can't change the way we end the show. For that, I will have to say what I always say. Until next week, adios.